You really want to make it in crypto, do ya? You've got to bet more than you can afford to lose. I remember when I first told you this about 1 year ago. We bet more than we can afford to lose, and we've got absolutely nothing to show for it. It's been 1 year extra on top of the 3 years before that. We still got nothing to show for it. So what exactly are we waiting for? You know, we're waiting for the business cycle. You know, we're waiting for people to get inspired, optimistic, the economy to be booming, some sort of spark to give profitability to small and medium businesses, and they go and thrash money out. And for people to go and speculate on the future, one of the most pronounced speculations on the future probably stems from AI, robotics, quantum. I put it all in the same category, even though there's kind of like spin-offs, friends. Like I've already shown you, right? The big things like AI can be used to check out your genetic structure and then help with the medical industry. It can analyze a lot of stuff, find correlations between things that we had no idea were moving around, right? There's like 40 trillion cells or something that they can analyze, but we're building computers out there to pretty much handle it, and AI, of course, to read all of it. And then the RoboTaxi is a big thing, right? The RoboTaxis, friends, is going to be so funny because it's literally just, yes, it's robot taxis, but you're productive now. You can work while you drive. You can work while you commute. That's going to be wild. How does that change the world? You can send emails, phones. You don't have to drive anymore and worry. Something else drives for you. That'll be enormous. There's plenty of other big things coming. AI as well, friends. Remember, AI, it's about 100 IQ, 120 IQ now. It can collect a lot of information, and it's like a really good student, really, in the classroom who can just regurgitate information out here, right? But it's going to get way smarter. It's doubling its IQ. Any day now, in the next 6 to 12, 18 months, at some point, it's going to hit that 200 IQ number, which we're like, what happens after that? And then it's going to start to become sentient, where you can just say to it, I'm bored, teach me something. And it might say, hey, send me a schedule. What do you do during the day? And then you tell it, and it's like, oh, did you know this and this and this and that? Right? A lot of things are probably we haven't hit that point right now. AI, you've got to ask it direct questions, and it can tell you a lot of things. It's actually really, really good right now, but we're going to move towards a future where it's going to have a lot of answers. We're literally not ready for this. We are not ready for a superhuman that you can just talk to that has all the answers and creativity. We've never seen anything like that. We marvel at humans that can do this, but they can usually only do it in one field, not in everything. Okay. So where does crypto fit in? Truth is, you'll only make it in crypto if you bet more than you can afford to lose. We've been waiting a very, very long time, but crypto, remember, friends, not everybody, actually pretty much no one in crypto has found out themselves that, we are just an extension of the business cycle, and cryptocurrency as an industry relies on the market basically forgetting that things can ever get bad. All right, we want to get the PMI higher. Don't know how long it's going to be high for, but we just need it higher. Once we get there, people start, being willing to take on more risks. They're able to basically, disregard tokenomics here, or this founder's not the best, or maybe there's a bit of Ponzi stuff going on here, right? But we're not there yet. We just remember too much pain from the past. We're waiting for that moment. Check this out as well. In the past, crypto participants weren't even called investors. They were considered heretics, cultists, drug addicts. They continued to hold their bags in the trenches and keep believing. Don't stop believing. Very true, right? They weren't even called investors. That's the funniest part about everything, friends. So while you and I enjoy some Mario music, you got to remember, the highest gains, they don't come to investors. There's no, what's the investing word? It's just someone who's like, I own this thing. It might turn out to be a good decision. You just don't know, man. Once we start to put the formulas and the framework and all the big models come out, and then Tom Lee, crowd favorite, comes out, and he's got the big trends going up. Oh, he's a 30-year demographic change. Once you have that, man, you're not getting the explosive upside stuff anymore. Now you're getting more of the TradFi things. The good thing is, though, before we get to the boring part, right? The boring money, which is huge, has to come in first. and people got to get really excited. And there has to be some sort of mania. There just has to. You're not going to get this nice world where there's like staircase things up forever. That'll be what we call, I guess, a true super cycle, but we don't get that. That's why eventually the business cycle takes us up, and then we start speculating on the future, and then people are like, wow, the future in 4 or 5 years is going to be like, whoa. That's where you get like extreme prices, you know, because people just can't help themselves. And the only way to make it is literally just to keep believing. You just believe that there's no network effect here, and one day there'll be something, right? I want to share this to you as well, friends. So more mystery, stupid pDAI coin stuff. So in the pDAI Telegram, a mysterious, suspicious account joined and said, 7 days, watch the chart. Okay. They said, watch the chart. This account, a bit of credibility as well, suspiciously disappears. Then on the official Binance account, a day later, Binance account puts a coffee mug. Watch charts. It's weird, man. Binance account doesn't talk about watching charts, bro. You know, it doesn't. Because CZ's like, buy the dip hold. CZ doesn't say, watch the charts 24 hours of the day. That's why it's a bit spooky. Look at this other post by Binance. Oh, what's this? Thank you to my baby doll who made this. Out with the Pikachu hat. Slaying the Hydras. Look at this. City Bug. Wankers Fargo. Goldman Slugs. This is JP Mosquito. See that? Bank of Ants. It's literally just a giant ant. But look what Binance posted. They didn't post that. Imagine they did post that. That'd be hilarious. Binance actually posted, ready for my favorite blockbuster. Charts. Only at Binance Studios. So it's like, hey, watch the movie. My favorite movie's a chart. It's so weird, man. They're drawing words from these suspicious accounts which may or may not be linked to Richard Hart. It's spooky. What do you think, friends? Did Richard Hart buy a piece of Binance? So Richard said, it's like, so these are what 100% we know, okay? Richard said he did want to make an exchange. Crypto exchange, all right? This was back in 2021, he said it, right? He wanted to make a crypto exchange. Now, not a decentralized one, actually have a fiat, onboarding one. Now, BitMEX went up for sale. All right? But we heard nothing about it, all right? But BitMEX did go up for sale. So that was strange, almost like Richard wants to buy a thing and then BitMEX goes up for sale. We wonder if he has anything to do with it. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't touch that because Binance, this is I reported on this a while ago. I think, friends, a big company or the UAE government themselves, Habibi come to Dubai, around there, they actually bought a big stake in Binance. I think they bought 5% of it. Right? I think I can try to find it. And because you're a cutie pie, pumpkin pie, and a cherry pie all at the same time, I've actually found the exact article now. Here it is, friends. Abu-Dhabi-backed investor buys into Binance with $2 billion of crypto. Huh. This was it. Binance deepens its ties with Abu Dhabi, the father of Dhabi. That's what it means. Abu Dhabi-backed investment group, MGX, made a $2 billion cryptocurrency investment into Binance. Interesting, right? So, this is wild. Look, it will see MGX become a minority shareholder after making the investment in stablecoin, a type of cryptocurrency pegged to a fiat currency such as the dollar. So, these players are making these big moves, and they got a stake of Binance. I'm not sure how much Binance is worth. I actually looked that up. How much is Binance worth? Because they paid $2 billion for it. I wonder how much stake they got. And what I've actually done is, Google won't give me a proper answer. I'm just quickly done it now. So what I've actually done, I've gone to my girlfriend, ChatGPT, and she's talking to me right now. And she says, Binance is worth about $62 billion. Right? And, but it's probably going to ask, right? Wow, friends, Binance has done accumulated volume 100 trillion. Whoa. Uniswap's done 3 trillion as a DEX, though. It's pretty cool, man. So that's Binance, obviously, first cycle unicorn, yeah. So yeah, it could be worth like 60 billion. They bought 2 billion of it. They want to get their hands in. So that's why, like, buying an exchange and everything, it could be, it's like, because everyone wants access to that fiat on-ramp and stuff. They want that, but even though crypto is the future, right? It's just something to think about. So it leads us to speculate, right? So Binance, they definitely did do the stake thing. BitMEX definitely did go to sale. Richard Hart definitely did want to buy an exchange. There are crypto big numbers out here. Is Richard involved with it? I mean, Binance are hinting a lot of stuff. It's like there's just too much now. They're really throwing these hints out about Heartcoin, as I've shown you, Heartcoin, and then botched DAO code and pDAI, and also another thing, CZ. He really cares. I mean, he's not even the first guy. We still pretend like he's the CEO of Binance. He's not. Richard Peng is. But CZ always says he cares about his customers. He wants his customers to win. He says that. So that's translation, right? They always want like airdrops and rewards for people who are on Binance platform. Richard's given Binance 300 million pDAI. Yeah. So it could be that part of the amicus brief when he was reaching out to CZ, who was in jail for overstaying his welcome at KTV karaoke on a Friday night, got to be rowdy in there. Could have been, Richard saying, hey, you're an exchange, you care about your customers, you want your customers to win. I've got a big airdrop. We're doing something different. We're remaking DAI. We're doing a community takeover because BlackRock and the government, they're going to go on Satoshi's principles. We got blacklist functions on everything, and then look what happened to you, right? Look what happened to me. The government comes after us. It's probably Richard talking to him, right? Obviously, friends, I'm translating because Richard would really sound like this. Quack, 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 because of course, Greg the Duck, you know what I mean? Quack, 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 quack. So he'll be like quacking around, right? So you see what I mean? Like he's talking to CZ. He's like, look, man, when we came in, Bitcoin's not the same as when we came in. Now, basically, they're sucking off BlackRock. They're inviting all the government in. There's blacklist function stuff. They just pause money. Tether paused $550 million in 2024, right? We could have said all these things. He's like, we got to do this. We got to do it our way, but we got to do it like Satoshi, right? We got, maybe. Or we're just going nuts. I'm wearing a Mario hat and I've got moggles. Could be losing my mind. I don't think I'm losing my mind, friends. You know why? I didn't have one to begin with. Speaking of losing your mind, oh man, this hurts me. BitBoy, friends. BitBoy, there's a poly market odds. Things are not looking good for BitBoy. 74% chance he's convicted. So the odds of him on poly market, him being convicted, 74% chance. So apparently, man, he's not in a right state of mind, man. Apparently, he emailed a threat to a judge. So you can't threaten a judge, number one. Number two, bro, like if you're emailing a threat, like something's not right there. You know what I mean? Yes, it's just, you can't talk to people like that. They're not crypto people. In crypto, remember when BitBoy came out and he said that, he said crypto banter. He said Randy Boo is running a global elite pedophilia child lollipop ring. And we all laughed because it's a crypto, bro. Like we hear that every 15 seconds. You know what? Probably someone else is. But you can't go and take that type of approach to a normie, especially a normie who can pretty much put you in jail. But yeah, I hope it does kind of get better. Maybe he's just going to sort something out in prison and maybe collect himself in some way. But it's just such a disaster. He lost his wife, lost his kids. Then he got his mistress. Then his mistress left him, had 30 million at the top. Got backstabbed by his company. It's just such a sad tale, friends. So I beg of you, man, if you make cash this cycle, put in real estate. Obviously, not financial advice. Just telling you, get some property, dude. Just do something because just have that nest egg because you just don't know, friends. Like one click. I'm just telling you, like the average human, you and I know how to maneuver a way around this, but the average human, you're not built to assess risk. You're not built for that in markets. You can assess risk like, oh, there's a giant tiger with a big tooth. Okay, you know that. Or you say, oh my gosh, there's a hotel cuck chair in my bedroom right now. You know what I mean? You can get out there and you can pretty much point your gun at it and go, get out of my room, hotel cuck chair. Right? You just blast it to pieces. You can blast the hotel cuck chair to pieces in your chair, in your room, if it appears like that, So You have those things by default. What you don't have is the ability to go, hey, I'm super convicted. What percentage of my portfolio should I allocate to this new thing? Even though I'm hearing 50,000 positive vibes that this thing is going to work out. How do I allocate to it? You know, do I allocate 20%? 100%? 1%? It's tough. People don't know what to do most of the time, okay? What is the right answer? Because there is no right answer. That's the thing. There is no right answer. Yeah. Usually what happens though, if you have a lower net worth, let's say you're still working for someone, you haven't retired, well, you probably got to focus higher concentration on stuff. The problem is how much though? Do you put 2 years of savings in? What if you get it wrong? Then you got to save up 2 years again, you know? So that's a tough thing. If you put in real estate, it's illiquid. Okay, it's an illiquid NFT. It's a JPEG that takes 2 or 3 months to find someone to buy and sell. You don't want to sell it, right? You just get your yield off it. You could even borrow on it a little bit. Probably don't want to because you probably borrow too much on it at the worst time. But at least that sits there. So that's a lesson you got to think about now before we get to the mania. Speaking about the mania, friends, PumpFun token, right? So PumpFun token. I just want to show you a message from the PumpFun founder a year ago. The PumpFun founder himself a year ago called pre-sales and ICOs scams. Now he's got one. Look at this. If you're a big crypto Twitter personality and you want to launch a coin, you got 2 alternatives. Remember, this is in March 2024. 1, do a pre-sale. You have to market it to Valhalla to justify your valuation. Massive pressure to perform. Tons of room for error with setting up and avoiding token snipers. Number 2, you can go to pump.fun and launch. Extremely easy. The market decides the valuation. Run by the community by default. Free put option in case it fails. If you stealth launch, the early buyers are those who turned notifications on your posts, i.e. your biggest fans get rich. The P&L screenshots are the best form of marketing. So look at this red box. The only upside to pre-sales are that they allow you to pocket raised money. Conclusion, every pre-sale is a scam. Wow. Every pump.fun launch is a green flag. I mean, like this. Yeah. We all know how that worked out. So just showing you, man, it is true. It's true. Like it's, you know, we tried the ICOs in 2024. It's tough, you know. So you make of that what you will. That's what they do, friends. When you want to raise money to create something. I mean, we were the top signal in the whole last bull market. PulseChain and PulseX. We were literally the intergalactic top signal. PulseX raised 1.1 billion. So just think about that. And look, if you're going to participate, remember, friends, I don't have an approach of where I say abstain, abstain, abstain. I don't, you know what I mean? Some people need to be abstained. They've got to be locked up. All right. But who's going to monitor them 24/7? You need a lot of love and care. Okay. I like the approach of like, look, it's not going to work out, but if you're going to do it, here's a little formula. And what's the little formula? Okay, no more than 1%. You really want to get into something? No more than 1% of your portfolio, dude. If you can prove to yourself and me that you have a profitable strategy, if that at 1% allocation, if you can turn that into like 20% of your portfolio, whoa, now you can size up. You've got some real skill, maybe, if you're lucky. Okay, there'll be a lot of flukes. But if your 1% goes to 0, guess what? You just learnt a very expensive lesson and you paid nothing for it. You only paid like a month or 2 of yield on pretty much your crypto or anything else out here. Do you see what I mean? So that's the thing, especially when it comes to trading. So, you know, often people will say, hey, I've got $50,000. I'm going to go trade. They throw all $50,000 in. I go, no, bro. $50,000, you put $500 in. If you can turn that $500 after a month and a half, turn that 500 into like 800 without drawing down heaps. Okay, now we can work on, okay, now we can bump it up to $2,000. And trust me, like when you're profitable, we can just bump you up straight away, use all 50, but you don't. You're not like that. You're not in the 1%. You're the 99%. Oh, man. So what are we looking for the rest of the bull market as well, friends? We will see more launches of tokens out here. Man, there's just too many, man. You know there's too many, friends. I'm on Crypto Kobe's Echo. There's just too many, guys. I don't give a shit about the coin. There's just too many coins, bro. You don't do anything. You don't. I know in my deepest part of my pointy elbows and my pointy knees. that it's memes, cults, religions, man. We have the framework from BTC. We know Bitcoin works. Why? Meme, cult, religion. The meme grew into religion, bro. When you're like a layer 3 of a Soylana extension and you're promising zero knowledge upgrades of passport identities, no one cares, man. You don't do anything. And even if you did make money, the market's smart. It dumps you in a bear market anyway because you're going to be useless in the next bull. So in crypto, this is the thing, right? We don't have an application problem. That's the funny part. That's what you see. The biggest myth of crypto, we got to get the user application. We just got to find a way to make money from Web 2 to put them on. Yeah. No, bro. We don't have a user application problem, bro. We have a cult problem. That's what we have. Okay? We got a problem with Jeets. Jeets, no interest in cults. They don't want to commit to anything, okay? They want to be in the JPEG. They want to get into a meme and they want to leave. They're gone. They don't want to see the meme become a cult. They're not inspired by that because, honestly, not enough of them have succeeded yet to even inspire them. They don't believe in anything, right? All they believe in is literally, once again, I got to say it, inserting the foot of their favorite LA vape cabal into their mouths and choking on it. That's what they're interested in. They're sucking on Ansoy's feet. The prostitute cabal, you know what I mean? They love her gum teeth shots. They probably got a selfie printed out under their pillow of her giant gums. Massive gum to teeth ratio. So we don't have a problem, like I said, friends. We don't have a problem with these applications. Oh, if we just get the right application. No, dude. No. You got to get people to stay at all costs. Okay? It's like in a country, you don't have to worry about this as much because if the country goes through a bit of a poopy time, guess what? They're geographically bound by the network. People in like Poland, if Poland goes through, shout out to the land of Poles, by the way, you know, Poles are pretty cool. So the land of Poland, if you go through some negative GDP, not everyone's going to leave because they got families and there's waterfalls there, and there's beaches there. Is there? Are there beaches in Poland? There's food. Sure, there's food, right? There's babes there. So they're not leaving, right? There's schools, there's churches, hospitals. They've grown up there. There's parks, right? They're not leaving. Okay, that's geographical network effects. You see? But in crypto, it's different, bro. So we got to figure out, okay, if people can leave in the click of a button, how do we get them to stay? That whoever's working on that, that's the future. Yes, that's the future, friends. And guess what? Bitcoin had the first mover advantage. It got that. It didn't even need to work on that, but it got that. That's right. It's self-fulfilling at this point. Doesn't mean it lasts forever. Who knows, right? But that's the game we're thinking about. So all these VCs, they get the 4-panel mid-curve podcasts, and they're like talking about, oh, the hyper-liquid, and what about the margins, and your Web 2, and they're using all these buzz bullshit words no one cares about because they're not there for the memes and the cults, bro. They're here. They're some VC punting. They're not going to be around the next bear market. They're going to move into the next theme and everything else out here, the next narratives. Okay, so but who's actually going to win? It's whoever can go meme, cult, religion. All right, we're looking for the next religions. Hate to say it, XRP. You know what I mean? Like, but it's true, man. It's true. You know, they stayed there at all costs. You got to think about why did XRP holders stay there, even when Dogecoin mania was happening in 2021, even when JPEGs became a big thing, even when DeFi comes and goes, even when there's PumpFun. Why did the XRP Army stay? Start asking those questions. Okay, because they stayed in there. They're in the army. Another word for cult. Army. Get it? Trying to become a new religion. So whoever's working on that, look at Charles Hoskinson as well, right? Chuck. So there's something else. There's something spiritually, religious, interdimensional. I don't know what it is. Some sort of magical quantum field juice that's around these things and the people in there, their spirituality, whatever it is, that makes them stay and not leave. Okay, and then over there in Jeet land, where it's just full-on parasite PvP, yeah, it's people circling the drain. So that's what, when we get to find what actually makes them tick, you're on the right path. That's also why, friends, Pulse Chain, I've never doubted. Right? Because think about it. There's a PumpFun season, Soylana. You're hearing about Soylana from Roll Pow, from Ivan, and everyone's saying Soylana wins. Soy. Sprinkle soy in your breakfast. Have soy with your steak. Put soy in your orange juice. That's exactly what they're saying. Soylana. Soy. Just freaking Soylana fest 24/7. And everyone in Pulse Chain's like, now like Pulse Chain, I'm not leaving. Do you see what I mean? You ever wonder why? Why? When we start asking that why, we can get further down the curve. Maybe Richard Hart's already figured it out. That's what I'm saying. Like, subscribe, really, but I'll catch you soon.